Grunty in Banjo-Kazooie wants a sister, and curiously it is a sister who comes to save her in Banjo-Tooie, as if her wish has been granted. The sister image gets split into two, and many things come with it. Suddenly, you don't only have two sisters, you have two shamans, two moles. This split seems to be caused or to center around Bottles' death. And Bottles then becomes kind of an important character in this game. It's funny because several things point to this. Also, the secret passageway that leads to the Jiggy Temple is located inside Bottles' house, next to a Jet Force Gemini poster. Of course, Gemini also referencing this split into two brothers. And of course, the Jiggy Temple is a temple that honors jigsaw puzzles or pieces of a puzzle. So puzzle, there is an image that has been split into pieces, and Banjo and Kazooie need to reconstitute these and see the picture for what it is. Put the pieces together. Put Bottles' soul together. Unite these dualities. Bottles, furthermore, his house is exactly in front of King Jingling's house, as if they are reflections of each other. The temple of the king is the house of the lowly mole. But these two characters are tied in different ways as well. King Jingling and Bottles are two of the only characters who wear crowns. King Jingling wears a crown as a king, and Bottles wears a crown in the final celebration. It is almost as if the final party in the game is not just a party to celebrate Banjo and Kazooie, but Bottles' birthday party itself, or Bottles' crowning party. Bottles' ascent to kingship. Furthermore, Bottles and King Jingling are the two characters who die. King Jingling, all his life force is sucked out of him, so he turns into a zombie, and Bottles dies. Precisely the two characters who wear crowns. The celebration at the end, then, is almost like a celebration of the fact that Bottles has come back from the dead. So it is a birthday party because Bottles has been born again. He has experienced a rebirth and is now sort of celebrating his new divine life or self. It's funny how King Jingling was planning a football game precisely for Bottles because Bottles was such a good player. So a present, this divine kingly present for Bottles, was a game involving spheres, balls. And in Donkey Kong Country 3, Blue Bear also celebrates a party and no one attends, just as with Bottles' party. Everyone forgets about the party. Everyone forgets about him. But the bear who lives up at the top of the world, up at the top of the mountain, so kind of the king sitting atop the whole bear world, bestows upon him a bowling ball, a ball again. And this sphere in mythology, especially spheres carried by kings, are the world, or in a Jungian sense, the totality of the self, this perfect sphere or mandala that is given to Bottles. And funnily enough, at the end of Tooie, we don't get to see this tournament of football that was planned, but we do get to see its symbolic counterpart, which is all the characters playing football with Grunty's head, also a ball in a sense. And as this mandala is passed around them, another symbol for another sort of circle flies through the air, Captain Blubbers's flying saucer, as if that is also the ball, the head, the crown that is flying away. Of course, this decapitation, this image of cutting the head off, had already appeared visually as a motif in the game, in the sense that Mumbo is a decapitated character, right? Mumbo himself represents a body with a skull. So the head is dead, but the body is alive. His head has been cut off, like Grunty's. And the funny thing is that the developers for the game admitted that the body that is used for Mumbo's body is an enlarged Jinjo. Mumbo, therefore, is a decapitated Jinjo, a dead Jinjo, and yet he's still alive, he still moves. So Mumbo is an undead Jinjo, which is exactly what King Jingling is. In fact, Mumbo wears a crown as well. He wears a crown of feathers. Mumbo is King Jingling in this sense. Of course, it is interesting how the appearance of the dead Jinjo King is also connected with death within the Jinjo community. The grey Jinjos die, and their king becomes a zombie. So there is death introduced into the game in a big way, and this creates this sort of split, as I've said, but it also creates it in the Jinjo community, because for the first time we get evil Jinjos. This game presents us with Minjos. It also presents us with Mingi Jongo, with the evil version of Mumbo Jumbo, as if the introduction of death is also the introduction of split, of the duality. You spend the whole game then uniting the Jinjo families, bringing them back together. You bring the Boggy family together. You bring the Bottles family together. Things have been dismembered and you reunite them. The puzzle has been split into separate pieces, but you put it back together and see the full picture. Increase awareness of the situation by putting all the pieces together. And I think that this increased awareness, this increasing consciousness that comes from collecting the jiggies is this sort of divine state into which Bottles finds himself, crowned at the end of the game. And of course this symbol of the head and the ball is, at least in shape, similar to the egg, as if what these characters receive, these spheres, are eggs, complete eggs, right? Not broken into pieces like the jigsaw puzzles, but all the pieces of the egg have been put back together. The self has been reconstituted. There is, again, a Jungian process of individuation going on throughout the games, ending in the birth of the self at the end.